Good morning, everyone. May 30th, 2020, and welcome to episode number 10 of the Project 2020 show. Before we begin, I want to say thank you to everyone who has recently subscribed to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. We just missed the goal of 800 total subs by this morning, but look, that was a steep goal to gain over 100 subs in a single day. So if you're not subscribed, please hit that goal, or please hit that button. And now the new goal is simple. Can we be at 900 by Monday morning? Now, let's move over to Project 2020. And if you're like, hey, that lighting is really weird today. There's a thunderstorm outside right now. It's really dark and it's thundering, lightning, and it's really weird for Seattle, but rather dark. And so the light outside is not there usually. So I'm having to move my desk light around a little bit to make the lighting for the video work. It also might actually be better. So I don't know. We'll find out. But hey, let's talk about yesterday. Let's look forward to next week. I got a lot of things to cover today. It's a Saturday. There's no releases. And look, the cards come out Monday through Friday, 2 a week. We're going to have a print run announcement here in a couple of hours. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about where I project Gwynn and Jeter to fall. Might be a little surprising to some people. But look, it's an exciting weekend. We have a lot to look forward to. But I'm also going to share with you my thoughts on what I'd be doing next week from a buying perspective, and just sort of based on the news we know and where the demand's going to go. So let's now take a look at yesterday. Also, if you're thinking or asking where do all these graphics come from or the numbers, please check out the website, crtsportscards.com. Go to my Project 2020 page, and it has everything there for you. And you can quickly reference any number that I talk about here on the show. So as of yesterday afternoon, here is the new leaderboard when it comes to the top 10 print runs in Project 2020. And just for some perspective, when we were at card number 80, to be number 8 on that leaderboard, you had to have only produced 9,873 cards. That was the King Saladin Jeter. Look at this leaderboard just 12 cards later. To be in the top 10, you have to be at 21,000 cards, basically. I mean, our perspective of the print runs has been blown to smithereens in a sense. I mean, it's incredible to see. So yesterday, Mariano Rivera put up 35,330. And then Cal Ripken put up 41,392. So when you go back to yesterday's video on the Rivera prediction, I absolutely nailed it. I said Rivera would do 35,000. It did 35,330. So that was great to see. And that's my third prediction in a row. That's pretty much nailed. I think that was other than the McGuire, when I said it was going to do 18,000, these have been my two, I would say, nearest to the actual number. And I'll never predict it to the actual number. That's just ridiculous. So 35,000 was really good to see. The concern for me was the Ripken, and I had said, look, it's going to do 45, 50,000, maybe even more. I even threw in there maybe as low as 43, but look, it didn't even do 42,000, and the pre-orders were greater than Koufax, greater than Williams, and so we just saw the buyers move more to eBay on that one than Topps.com, and so we'll show the numbers here in a second. But it was a spike, a small spike, but that's why the pre-orders did not correlate to a higher print run. So that was interesting, but it's Don C, second card. He is now the highest printed artist in this print run so far. But hey, it's just one number, it's one release. We'll see how it goes going forward. But it was interesting to see the Ripken drop down a little bit. Now let's take a look at pre-orders for today, and let's do some analysis on where I think the print runs are going to land for Jeter and for Gwynn. So here we go. Here's our familiar chart when it comes to pre-orders within 1 day, 2 days in relative time frame, and the overall print run. As you can see here, the Ripken was up to 1.7. The Rivera, Williams, Koufax, all right there at 1.5. Just for some numbers here, if Ripken had done 1.5% on eBay versus 1.7, you're looking at about a 47,000 print run. So that little spike in just 0.2 of a point dropped him below Koufax and Williams, and it was surprising because he had 710 pre-orders. They only had a max of 666. But now let's look at the Jeter and the Gwynn. The Jeter has 878 pre-orders and Gwynn has 446. Personally, I think the Jeter comes in right around 60,000. It may touch 65. I just don't think we understand how difficult it is to sell 65,000 cards. And Ryan sold 65,000 because Griffey sold 100,000. Gwynn is not carrying Jeter here. So I really think that 60,000 is that number, 60, 65 for Derek Jeter. Yes, there's the New York behind him, but that's a lot of product to sell in just 2 days. So to me, I feel really happy at 60, 65. I could be obviously completely wrong here in this one, but I think we're looking at 60, 65 for the second or the third highest printed card for the week. Now on the Gwynn. And for some reason, as I mentioned a couple days ago, the F-Dots and Gwynn overall just have not taken off. And Gwynn specifically just has not sold well. His numbers have not been good. And I really think it's because he's not with us anymore. I could see this card coming down as low as 30,000, even below the Rivera, not even beating Bing Baller's Trout. So I like that 30,000 range for Tony Gwynn. The pre-orders for me on this one were really slow. My Jeter sold out really quickly. But I think it's a major split here. You're going to look at like 60, 65 on Jeter. You're looking at 30, 35 on Gwynn. These are polar opposite players. But what does that mean? What does that look like for cards that were released yesterday? We had the Mattingly and the Frank Thomas. And so those were interesting casual Fridays, I called it yesterday. Where do those pre-orders stand right now? So take a look at the screen. Here we are. So Don Mattingly has 308 and Fucci has 213. These are our lowest pre-orders for the week right now after 24 hours, or basically 11 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So these are surprisingly low. I mean, look, if you think back to the Gwynn, these are both under the Gwynn, and I'm thinking Gwynn does 30, 35,000. So you could see a Sunday announcement tomorrow, probably same range, if not lower, especially on the Frank Thomas. Fucci, Frank Thomas specifically has had a yo-yo career in this, and so Frank Thomas was basically expecting to miss the average here, but both of these cards could come in the low 30s, maybe 35,000, maybe even not even 30,000. So we'll see, and we'll update again tomorrow morning. But it's a slow end to the week after a massive start to the week when it came to the Griffey and the Nolan Ryan. So we're ending on a low note versus starting on a high note. But look, that's what's going to happen in this project. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. We're just ending right now on a low note this week. But there is a major high note coming next week, and that's that Mike Trout. I also released a graph yesterday on the website I want to talk about, and I also want to share what I would be doing right now around this Mike Trout announcement. So yesterday afternoon or evening, I had some time. I actually lost internet at my house for about 2 hours, and so I was like, well, let's look at some more numbers of Project 2020 while I don't have internet, and we will get this, put something out for the website. And so I came up with this graph, and I don't know if there's a lot of information here other than it just looks cool and it shows you the print run increase. It shows you, the first 2 weeks, it was basically a static line. There were some peaks, there were some valleys, and you can quickly identify that whenever there's a peak, there's an immediate drop down. There's never a peak and another peak after it. So if you're thinking of a print run perspective, when there's a big spike one day, you can almost right now always guarantee that the next day is going to be lower. That's just how this project is working. So I don't know if you're going to glean too much information from this graph other than it looks cool. I'll update it every day. There's a print release, but it'll be interesting to see what this looks like after next Thursday when they announce the print run for the Mike Trout. Now, let's talk about Mike Trout and what I'd be doing around this release. So I'm looking at this Mike Trout from two perspectives. Let's look at it from the perspective of the fanboy of the product. I think this card is going to be absolutely fantastic for the product. When it comes to the amount of media behind it, the press, ESPN, Gary Vee, the collaboration of Ben Baller and Blake Jameson, there's so much good things about this card. It's going to help us out as we reach card number 100. But I think the other perspective for me, and where I'm really focusing on, is while everybody is focused in on that card, all of the eyes are going to be on that card. Go around, people. Look for deals. Look for deals that are out there right now from cards that people are not talking about. After the incredible surge we had last week, there has been a pretty steep, maybe not steep, but a pretty severe decline in some of these values of live cards. And again, you guys know my affection of live cards, but another great thing here, and this is why I look at it from the other perspective on the Trout, Topps has just delivered and will deliver this week another 10 to 15 cards live into the ecosystem. Last week we were almost 40 cards behind, and now we're only going to be about 25 behind. When Topps starts injecting 10, 15 cards every week and a half into the ecosystem when it comes to live Project 20 cards, people, in my opinion, are going to become more comfortable with these cards and buying them back at the prices they were. For a while there, we were flipping flips and the cards went around and people were panicking, and I think all of that kind of was a perfect storm, and that's why the prices have dropped. look, I don't know what cards are going to go up, and I would never ever stand on a high horse here or on a pedestal and say go buy this card. I think that's irresponsible. But I think live cards right now that have been greatly reduced in value over the past couple of days present a really good opportunity while everybody is focused on the Trout. So while everybody's eyes is looking at the iced out Ben Baller Mike Trout name, go behind them. Go pick up some live cards for a rather good deal right now, especially the ones that just got announced, and profit that way. Because look, this product is a marathon. This is not a sprint. Our goal right now is to make it to card 400, and that's in December. It's only May 30th. We have a long way to go. So just pace yourself. Be careful out there, but I would still continue to look for live deals as this Mike Trout news comes out, because all the focus will be on that card. Go behind them and find some deals that way. So with that, guys, have a great Saturday. Looking forward to see what the print runs are for the Gwynn and the Jeter, and I will see you all tomorrow on Sunday morning. See you guys later.